What up, anime people? Anime Cookout's back. Grill's hot. We're gonna put One Piece on the grill. Start it off, Andrew. I got this. I'll cook this one up.
All right, all right.
um, we kind of talked about it on the yesterday's podcast that we put out. But just to go into details, One Piece did raise their budget to kind of, I don't want to say compete, but to keep up with the times of how anime is adapting when it comes to artwork. And so what we're seeing in this last episode was about Sanji, pretty much Sanji versus Queen, and Sanji basically telling himself he doesn't want to turn into his brothers who are evil. He doesn't want to turn into his dad. He wants to become who he is, which is Sanji, Blackleg, the cook of the Straw Hats, and wants to make sure that Luffy's dream of becoming the king is there. So you end up seeing him break his raid suit, which is from his dad and his brothers, and just pretty much reaches another level that we haven't seen him ever reach. And so he starts beating up Queen, um, takes out Queen in this episode, but the artwork is where it really was at. Like the fighting scenes of it is where they pretty much kept everything on. There wasn't really too much backstory of anything else in this episode. And it really hit on these next six episodes of Wano are all about Sanji, then Zoro, and then Luffy, all hitting their top tier talent and everything else. And that's pretty
Oh,
much
okay.
what we're gonna get. And so the next episode or the next two episodes are probably gonna be about Zoro reaching his, and then the next ones after that will be Luffy reaching his full form of.
Is this like their final form?
I want to say it is,
All right.
but yeah, it's because so they're you're hearing the names that the people are calling them of like kind of what they're supposed to be. Like Zoro's the king of hell, pretty much. Sanji is Black Leg Sanji instead of being his other form of his family. And then Luffy, he ends up dying almost. So then in my picture right here, he ends up laughing and he turns into the sun god Luffy. And it was a you find out that his fruit power is pretty much like one of the best, even though everybody thought rubber is pretty lame. But yeah, so you'll end up seeing it. Yeah, so you'll end up seeing them come out and to their full forms and to lead into the next arc of One Piece, pretty much. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right, man. So I mean, like, what do you think about it so far, man? I mean, this whole arc and everything. Is it something that was in your favor? You like it? It's there. What how do you feel about
Um, so Zoro's one of my favorite characters, so I was really could not wait for this one. Him inheriting Odin's sword, him learning that he's if he wants to be the greatest swordsman, these are steps he has to take. But the war in itself of like leading up to this war, and this is probably one of my favorite arcs right now in One Piece, just
it?
because the build up to it and where we're at now of all the people fighting and everything, it's just been war story, war story, war story. So you'll get a few storyline in there, but then it jumps right back into war. Oh, right back into war. And so that's what I kind of like about it, where it's just been constant fighting, and then it would hit a few episodes where it's story, and then right back into fighting again. And so
Mhm.
it doesn't dip too long and too boring because I I will say they do have filler episodes. Of course, on those holidays, you'll get a let's look back at what happened the last 20 episodes, and it's like, oh gosh. But
Classic fillers.
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
other than that, it's been probably one of my favorite ones, seeing the growth of everybody, because you really see everybody, all the characters of his fleet, they all grew, they all learned something, they all got new powers, and this is the war where you see it. So they're supposed to take another step, of course, when they fight all the major people, but this is like a key into the next step for it. So I've enjoyed it so far.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good, man. So if you were to give it a rating, like what would you say? It's hard to rate it because it's like
Yeah.
so many episodes, so many things, right? But
Yeah.
like, if you're like so far up to this point, what would you give a rating for it?
As of this moment, I would say I would give it about a 4.2 for where we're at right now.
Okay. All right.
It there was a few episodes leading. One Piece leads into a bunch of like it's like Tokyo Revengers on like steroids. Like it's story, and then it's getting good, and then it's story and talking, and then it's getting good, and but it's been good. I since I've read the manga, I know it happened. So I think
Uh,
once that happens and I see it animated, I'll raise that grade up. But yeah, for me right now, it's a solid 4.2. Like it has its moments, and but I think with this art change, the way it's doing it, that I've been seeing the past few episodes, I think this helps it because there was some fights where I was like, man, like if that was Demon Slayer or that was Jujitsu, that would be sick. But now I'm seeing the artwork in a different way. Of course, all of them are different with their artwork, but it's been way better, way crisper than what I expected.
right.
This arc has. Some of the other arcs, I mean, if you look back at the '90s arcs, you're looking at you're
Well,
looking at
it's a different.
yeah,
Like, personally, I like 90s,
yeah,
2000, but it's a different time of
yeah,
animation. Now animation is 3D modeling, and you're able to get crisper, cleaner lines.
yeah,
Versus what it was back then. So it's always evolving, man. But yeah, even One Piece, man. One Piece, you could see the evolution in its art style. So yeah,
yeah,
absolutely, man. So One Piece, we're coming on good ones. It sounds like it looks like it's going to be a good one coming up. So let's look forward to that. It's episode. Well, it has it as season one, but it really ain't season one.
like
But it's like
yeah,
season one, episode 64. If I want to say, was it 61? Episode 61, and it's an angry showdown across the red line, is what it is. But like I said, I don't think that's really this. Oh no, am I on the wrong one? I sure am, ain't I?
yeah. I was gonna say, I think it's like season 15. I want to say
Yeah, yeah. Oh, they say, man, I'm on the wrong
it's like
one.
a.
I'm on
I
the
know
wrong one. My bad, buddies. My bad. Season 13. There you
13. There
go.
we go.
1061. Sorry
Yeah,
about that. I had it written down wrong. Sorry about that. Uh, 1061. The strike of an Earth. I don't know what that means. Ilf, what is it? IFRIT.
I don't know.
Oh, bro, it's your
I don't
it's
know.
your
I
thing,
I
man.
read it. I read it. Whatever, and I was like, I don't know what that is.
Maybe they misspelled it or something like that. Strike
I
of an
mean, they could
ilf
have.
or if. Well, yeah, I know what it is. Y'all tell us in the comments what it is, man. Spell it
Somebody
out.
knows what it is.
It's Sanji versus Queen is what it was,
Yeah.
and I'm still gonna be on a hunt for that little Zoro
Oh, when
Funko Pop one, man. That's hilarious, man.
he was a
Uh,
kid.
I see it every time, man. I'm like, oh man, that is hilarious, man. So, all right, man. So it looks like it's gonna be popping off. Uh, there you go. All right. So that being said, let's we go on to the next one. It is My Home Hero. If you haven't seen it, it's already episode 6 in. It's getting shaping up. We're starting to formulate the families are starting to formulate a plan on how to attack. The last episode was a little dry. It was more like informational episode. We got a little leads. Takashi, he actually gets to meet the father of Kubo, the guy he killed. So he meets his father, and it's like they come to like kind of an understanding, and he sort of suspects him, but he can't like definitively say he's the murderer, right? So he's like, if I find anybody, when I find the person who killed my son or hurt my son, I'll kill him. And you're like, hey, and so That being said, is My Home Hero really good? Last episode that came up is they get into a altercation between two people that eventually turns into a like sort of like a match between chess playing, right? So he's trying to figure out, like, he knows he did something with his best friend, oh, with his friend, right? So he wants to discover it. So they take him back to the house. They pull him around. They show him around. He ends up. What they did was that, I don't want to spoil too much, but they did something
Yeah.
pretty gruesome to his body, right? And so they, like, he finds the thing that's in his body was in, and sort of like, makes him like dig through it. And so it's really, really, really like a kind of like, gets kind of like wonky and stuff like that. But since the family is in on it, the wife comes in and interrupts them, and it, kind of like saves them in the end. So My Home Hero, it's a drama. It's not like it's like a superhero action or nothing like that. So I don't want anybody to get confused about it. It is a drama. Okay. So but once you get into it, it's a little mystery, or murder mystery, but like a mystery of like, um is he gonna get caught? Is he not gonna get caught? So it's that kind of mystery. So if you have time, go check it out. It's called My Home Hero. It comes out on Sundays. All righty, man. So that pushes us into the new one. It just came out, and was it hot, man? It is trending on the anime blogs on Twitter right now. It is called, what do you think it's called? It's called Demon Slayer, my friend. Demon Slayer. Swordsmith Village. So,
Oh,
man, it was Kimetsu no Yaiba, Swordsmith Village arc. Man, was it a treat? It was so it starts off right where it basically picks off. They're running for their lives, they're trying to survive. Um, Oops, my apologies. I lost his name. Tikoko, Tikoko, right? Was it Tikoko? Was his name?
I think so. Yeah, sounds about. They're all no Coco.
Was it Tikoko? Man, it's uh Tokito. Tokito. Like,
Keto.
you gotta remember, guys, we're not Japanese. So these
Yes.
names are probably like 10 for them, man. Like, what? You
Uh,
don't know Tokito, man? Like, these are like Ted and Jen and Jerry and Jim.
exactly.
Like these are names that we use on a
Use
daily
all the time.
basis
Yeah.
for me to remember. So that being said, Tokito, he goes and he saves the little boy Hokoto, and he saves him, and they're basically running through the forest. They meet up. They're killing these fish pot things. It's really, once again, 3D art. I hate it. That's the only that bad thing. If I gave it any rating, it would be a 4.5 because of those retard.
There's
Like,
a
oh, I
lot of
shouldn't
them.
say that, but like the horrible CG that is those fish things, man. Like, they end up pulling out like so spoilers ahead if you haven't seen it, spoilers, right? So the fifth under demon, the upper demon 5, he pulls out a two goldfish, the thousand needle goldfish, and man, like, they use the 3D modeling, but they do it right on that instance, man. It's just so clean and crisp, and man, it's just, like I said, watching Demon Slayer is watching art every single time. Every
Hmm.
episode is like watching art being formulated in your eyes, man. So that's why it does so great. And so with that being said, um, they do use some 3D modeling, but they know how to do it right, and then like it drops on those bigger scenes. So So it shows up, man. He's running through the forest. He got some on his back. He's trying to. They're trying to escape the. Basically, they're trying to find the Swords Village. Who's going on, right? So they run into one of the Kanemaru. Karomani, and he's one of like a deliverer of swords, right?
Yeah.
So they find him, and he's like, "Hey, man, I have your sword for you. Thank you for saving me." And they're like, "Hey." Young Kotetsu, that's the little boy. They're like, hey, we're gonna die pretty much, right? So we need to hurry up. We need to figure out what's going on. But he's like, hey, look, do you have my sword? Because my sword is like, this sword is obliterated, right? And he's like, hey, actually, I do. Tanjiro basically said to save your sword and get it prepared for you. And so Tokito, he goes, sort of makes him pause, but then it goes all the way back. And remember, it happened the other episode too, right before he saves the young boy. It's like he remembers what Tanjiro said. It's that generosity, that caringness. And that's why people love Demon Slayer, man, is to have a character like Tanjiro, just caring, 100% grateful, 100%. It's like watching My Hero Academia with Midoriya, but like a little bit better, a
Oh,
lot better.
crying.
Okay, I would say a lot better, right? So yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know he cries on
Yeah, a
this
little
too, man.
bit, man.
So hey, like it ain't all 100%. All right, he does cry a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they basically they make it to the forest, and they're about to hit the village, and that's when the upper demon 5 shows up in the jars. He's the one in the jars, right? And they see these fish monsters everywhere. So he basically starts to challenge them in the fight and say, "Hey, like the Upper Demon 5 is making this a famous villain speech as he's doing it. He's basically telling them, "Hey, you're really not worth anything, but I want to show y'all my art, right?" And then he pulls out of this jar this large tower of all these other swordsmith villagers bodies, right? And they're just like all grotesquely put together, made into the statue. And he's describing it to them. And little Kotetsu, he sees his uncle there, and he sees a few other people in there, and he's like, freaking out, right? And the Upper Demon 5 says, but wait, as he gets even better. And then he grabs the sword and then like twists it, and then they all scream in pain. Dude, I was like, "What? This is bonkers,
Yeah.
man!" I was like, this is crazy, man." I was like, I didn't even think they were gonna show something like that, right? And they did, man. It was like, oh man, it was good. It was real good. Once again, the artwork is great. It's like it screams every single time you watch it, man. Just like pure artistry, right? They know what they're doing in this thing. So, that being said, they make it to the village, and then I'm trying to get her name real quick, but one of the Hashiras, it starts to come in to save the day. She is, has her sword. It's more of a whip style
Yeah.
sword, and it's uh, con- Kanjori is her name. And so Kanjori is basically has the whip style sword. And man, I don't know if you noticed, man, they're starting to pull a lot of like swords and stuff like from around the world. Like this one's like a real famous one from India.
Yeah.
It's a very flexible
Yeah.
sword. Yeah, and they're able to use it like a whip style. And so it fits perfectly for this type of style of fish, man, because you got to take it all out at once, and you can't like just take out pieces because it's gonna, basically not do
Yeah.
anything, right? So one of the funny moments is that they after she destroys the one of the big bad fish that has the chief of the villagers, Lord Tetchin, uh, she saves him, and he's laying in her arms, and she's like, "Lord Tetchin, wake up, wake up, wake up." And then he's like, "Oh." I see a beautiful lady holding me, and he goes, "It's all good," you know. He says, "I'm on cloud nine," and and then that other dude goes, "Oh, look, Kanji, I'm hurt too, lady. My head hurts too. Can I get?" He's like, "Shut up. This is my time." You know.
Oh man.
Oh man, it was hilarious, man. Like made me laugh, man. It was real funny. And then they shift gears to Tanjiro. He's basically he's remember Tanjiro has the way he feels and moves things is through sense,
Yeah.
right? Like he has a high keen sense, right? So man, they're making a mad dash from the upper four that is basically attacking them with electricity. As they're doing that, you know, Tanjiro is trying to make a run for it. They get blown up, they get placed into basically rubble and everything, and then Nezuko is holding his sword and trying to not let it go, right? But she's like scraping her hands with it, blood everywhere. And then as the blood's hitting the sword, she then ignites it, lights it on fire, and then Tanjiro sort of clicks to it and says, "Oh man, you know this is what it is. You know, you want me to use your blood on my sword like a fire sword, right?" And that calls back to Mugen Train video, you know, the movie,
Yeah.
where I've been always saying since like the beginning is like they had to get rid of him because Tanjiro, like, there's no room for him because there was already a water, there's already a wind, there's already so they needed a fire one. And like I've been saying since the beginning, like Tanjiro is the fire
Yeah.
Hashira, right? Like he is the fire Hashira, even though that he practiced the water style, like he's developing the fire style
Yeah.
more now. He is the fire style, Hashira,
Yeah.
right? And they needed to basically make room for him, so they had to get rid of the other guy, so like it kind of made sense. It was sad, yeah, no, it was sad, but like I sort of got where they're
Yeah.
coming from on that, right? So now he's loading up, man. He got the blood all over his sword. It's lit on fire. Then he starts having flashbacks. Now, Nick, do you want me to spoil anything, or do you want me to leave it open? Do you want me to leave it like leave it open, let us watch it, let it play naturally? How do you want to do it,
I
man? How
will
do you want
I
to do
will add a spoiler alert right here for y'all.
it? Okay, add a spoiler alert because I am
And I
spoiling
will
some
put a
stuff.
timestamp on it. So if you don't want to, you can
Right.
skip it and go to the next part.
Okay. So when Tanjiro has his flashback,
Yeah.
right? Because this is the whole point. We will break it down. We want to give you the best information, right? So Tanjiro has his flashback, and you see the samurai, and he's looking off in the distance, and the lady is speaking to that samurai. That samurai is actually the first of Hashira that has the full like five range of all elements
Yeah.
together, and he's like number one Hashira. Don't know, uh, upper one, upper one moon, right? That is his brother. That's why they look so much alike. And so people confuse and think that is actually
Like
upper
him.
one,
Yeah.
or like maybe that's like, oh, he's a demon. Like it's not, it's his brother. And they're gonna get more into the story. Like they'll get into the story like as this one's progressing because he's like an integral part of this one, right? So they'll get into that storyline. But man, that boy was bad. And then he does it all in a certain way that when they reveal that top secret on you, you're like, what? You're like, no way, man. Like, it's like, what? But it makes sense because earlier I was watching with my girls and they were like, oh, they think that he's a Tanjiro is a reincarnation. It feels like he's a reincarnation of him, right?
Yeah.
So that's why Lord Muzan has those memories, and he sees uh that Hashira,
Yeah.
that blade, and that's why all of his other like Lord Muzan's underlings, they see that, because that was him, right?
Yeah.
So that being said, he uses this Hokunoga Sun Halo Dragon technique, and man, boy, when he whooped that up, if I was in the theaters, I would have been like, "Wah! Wah!" I would have been throwing it up, bro. Because man, that was some great, great animation.
No,
If
he did
and
really good.
this is why it's number one on the list. Remember, I told you we had to wait. Hell's Paradise is up there. And I was
Yeah,
like, we had to wait, man. We had to wait because I heard, man, they were telling me up and down on the blogs, and they were like, hey, Demon Slayer, this episode got rock, man. You're gonna wait. Just wait. Did not disappoint, man. So Tanjiro takes out all three of the upper fours, upper fours, little like head thingies. He had to take them out, right? So that being said, there was one left that he had to take out, and then you take them out. That whenever we see that, Gil takes a look to the left, or Ginya takes a look to the left, and bam, boy got demon eyes ravaging from the mouth. And you're like, what the heck? Is this man a demon? Is this man death? What is going on? Like, is he Nezuko,
yeah,
esque, like, but how is he walking out in sunlight? Like, we don't know, so it throws a lot in the air, left on this cliffhanger. I was like, why is Demon Slayer only 20
I
minutes,
know,
man? Like Demon Slayer is legit 20 minutes long.
I know.
If you take out the intro, take out the outro, the end credits, and then take out that little skit at the very end, you're looking at like 20
Yep.
minutes of Demon Slayer. And the two break cards in the middle.
Yeah,
Right? You're looking at like 20 minutes. 10 minutes on the front, 10 minutes on the back is all you get out of Demon Slayer. It's killer. It's killer.
I know.
So there's a lot of nuance in it. But this episode, 5 out of 5. Like I can't. Okay, 4.9. 4.9. I'm gonna duck a little bit for those
I was
goddamn
gonna
fishes.
the
All
fish.
right, 4.9 because of those damn fishes. But other than that, I had to give it 4.9, bro. This was by far best episode so far, and all of the animes that we do. This one right here was a great, man. It was just fire all the way around. All right, man. So I broke it down what it was. What are some of your favorites of the episode that happened down on Demon Slayer? What was going on?
Oh man, there was so much for one episode. Seeing both demons, of course, fighting in their own ways. Seeing how we've already seen one of them pretty much, but like you said, those koi fish when they came out, they started shooting all the needles out, or was it puffer fish?
Mm.
I think. Uh,
Oh,
were they,
no, they weren't
they're
pufferfish.
koi's
No,
or
they're
goldfish?
goldfish.
Yeah, there we
They're
go. Yeah,
goldfish.
I was like, I'm not a
Yeah,
fish yet.
like bug-eyed
Yeah,
goldfish
yeah.
is. Yeah.
But they were, man, it was just beautiful artwork. The fighting was amazing, and like the way that they had each character, like, okay, you get a section, you get a section, you get a section. It was just beautiful, and made me want more. I'm on a cliffhanger still. If you didn't watch the spoiler part that Andrew said, it keeps you even more like what's going on now. But yeah, it's just all together, man, an amazing episode. For sure, it's up there. I think 5 for me. Um, I'll give it a 4.9 just because I want more, and so that's just me being a person. But
4.9.
yeah, but it's, man, top notch. Deserves all the talk it's getting this week. Deserves all the hype it's getting this week. Like, that was an amazing episode of anime right there.
It was, man. It was 100%. I have to agree. I'm on the Twitter sphere right now, and everybody's like, no reason this episode has to pop off the way it did. Like, it
I
really
know.
did. It was just like out of
Yeah.
nowhere, man. They said, it's what? Episode 5? Let's dump the train on it, man. Just throw everything on there, man. It was like man, it rocked, dude. It was a really, really great episode, man. It just didn't stop giving you
Yeah.
nonstop action, and nonstop story. It was really great. So now the upper four has been killed. Has it been killed? Is it dead? We don't know. The regeneration, right? Because we saw
Hmm.
upper three and two, like, or upper three and two, yeah, upper three and two, like regenerate like nothing. When they get killed, body limbs taken off, even their heads exploded, right? So we don't know if this is four is like that as well. Can regenerate real good. So we're excited to see what happens. So that being said, that man, that concludes Sunday. Three things came out really late at night. Is One Piece, so we're do it on Sunday because nobody wants to stay up to 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, watch One Piece and then do a review, unless that's what you're focusing on. So we got everything that we're cooking up on this grill right now. But man, that was definitely in the night. A little filet mignon for the night, a little bit of carrots, a little bit of garlic butter, throw it on top of that, man. Put a little bit of pinch of sugar and get those glazed carrots going with a little bit of peas and a mint inside, and bam, you have yourself a 5-star meal right there on Demon Slayer. So get up on there if you haven't. It's season 3, episode 5. We're just gonna call it, the greatest show ever
Yeah.
until Jujutsu Kaisen comes out, and I'm blown away. Like, oh my god, Jujutsu Kaisen! You know, hey man, that's my. I'm sorry,
Hey,
man. I simp for Jujutsu
hey,
Kaisen,
that
man. That's one of my favorites, man.
that
So
story over there is something else. Also, I loved it.
yeah, and then, like, we're barely. It's season
I
2.
know.
You got to remember that. Like,
Hmm.
we're not anything. We're just like season 2. I heard it's slow. I did. I heard, like, because I haven't read the mangas in it. I may end up like going for the mangas just because I can't wait anymore. But like, they said it's kind of slow.
Yeah.
This is going to be kind of slow. It's going to be a lot of talking and a lot of information. But then they said by like season 3, it's going to like really pop
Boom.
off, like,
Yeah.
all the action, or the end of season 2 leading to
Season
season
three.
3
Yeah.
is going to really start popping
Heck
off.
yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely, man. So, yeah, man, that's it for me. Man, is there anything else in this crazy, crazy, crazy world? Oh, God of Tower just came out today. They put out the English dubs on it for God of Tower. I'm watching it again right now. It's awesome. It's just awesomeness, man. Like, if you haven't seen it, jump on there. It's just really great. It has this China vibe to it. No, like China, like Chinese animation. I don't know if y'all ever seen Chinese animation. It has like this Chinese animation, Korean animation vibe to it. So if you ever see like God of High School, if you ever watch God of High School, then you'll it's how God of Tower is. It's that kind of animation, sort of like 2D scratchy art kind of look vibe to it, but it's nice though. I think everyone's gonna enjoy it. But yeah, man. Other than that, let's go, and that's it, man. Nick, you got anything on their plate?
Nah, man, I really don't. There's a lot coming out still. Honest, honestly, we talked about a lot yesterday.
Yeah.
Today, we got spoiled with Demon Slayer, but
Oh,
I know we'll be doing a video on the weekly rankings. I know y'all enjoyed that, so y'all be on the lookout for that. Yeah, this was a great night, Demon Slayer. I'm kind of glad that we spent all the time on it because it was just that good of an episode.
oh yeah, yeah, most definitely. I think by far once again, by far greatest one of the greatest animes that are gonna go down in history books, man.
Oh yeah,
Like like it's one of those, like, when Cowboy Bebop came out and people were just like, "What is this?" Like,
yeah,
dude, the grunge, the cyber kind of western, all that comedy. It's like when that comes out, like, or when a really, really, really popular. What's another one that came out that was just like blowing the socks off of everybody? Oh, I mean, Demon Slayer, man. I mean, it was like Demon Slayer in the last, but like, you get one of those animes once in a lifetime that just come in there, and just like
yeah.
change the game. on everybody has to catch up to Demon Slayer animation. You know, like
Good luck.
they have to come in and catch up to it, man. Because if not, it's like you'll be left behind, man.
Good
So
luck with it,
that's yeah, man. That's this one, man. That's this one right here, man. This one, hopefully, it was many more to come. You know, hopefully, many more to come. So everybody, go look out, Demon Slayer. Check it out. Everybody loves it. So let us know your thoughts. Let us know your comments, man. If you want us to review anything, we're here for you as well. But other than that, man, it is a Sunday. We're wrapping it up. We'll be back on tomorrow to give you all the top 10s of the week. Where they all fell out, what's the ranking. So if you're into that, let us know. If you're not, let us know, and then we can change it up and put what y'all like so that we can cater it out to y'all. Okay. So that being said, this is Anime Cookout. Peace.
Later.
How much I'm working for this? I swear my dreams are too important.